Welcome back to the Good Back Podcast, where we'll be healing the spine in real time.
That looks to be recording, and there we go. Okay, and then I will make the bed. Yeah, I mean, we're on day 6 today, really. So,
yeah,
give it 2 of these, and we'll see.
There's a nice bit of speed in that walk. And those little walks that you're now able to do,
Yeah.
That's now a deep part of therapy.
Right.
That's,
Yeah, and I'm not pushing it, just keeping it nice and simple. And yeah, our house is a bit of a bombshell right now because we got a new fridge yesterday. So I don't know if anyone cares about a new fridge, but it's the landlady paid for it because we need a new fridge. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why our house is a complete disaster.
Ah.
All right, well, we may as well see.
The ease with which you open that door.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
I don't even know what kind of car she drives because I've never been able to go look. So there's a white vehicle in the driveway. It might be hers.
Right, yeah.
I'm still doing the Stuart McGill, kind of trying to be very safe about my motions.
You know, he added a lot to that.
Yeah.
This whole thing with that sort of the spinal hygiene is okay.
Yeah, getting back over on this side for sure. And I guess if we're waiting, I can do a new piece of kit I got. One of my issues is how am I supposed to drink out of this water bottle when I'm facing forwards, right? Like this.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So now,
Ta-da!
another piece of kit. It's like four quid.
How do you wash a reusable straw?
It came with a little thing that you shove in.
Oh, right, okay.
So you'd put some soap on that, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem to have it figured out, and it's stainless steel, so.
Oh, right, okay, so that should help a lot.
Yeah. I might hear somebody coming. Oh, yeah. There she is. How you doing? So, yeah. Here's me walking without too much pain, but I've just been doing a bunch of walking, so. We're still crooked, but it's feeling pretty impressive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. And we're on day 6 today. And then the other thing is that I was wondering if today maybe a different treatment posture might work. Like down like this or something.
Yeah, I think that the first rule of all treatment postures is what's comfortable.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable with that, then yeah.
Okay, let's do it. One thing about the massage is that every time she's done, she doesn't do too much work, really. It's not too intense. But when she's done, right here where I have this antalgia, there seems to be a space, and I feel amazing. And then when I go to get up, I'm like, oh, there is a bit of a pinch in there because there's been that space created.
You get that shearing pressure.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So, yeah, anyways, onwards. I've got another thing to reveal, I guess. £5 of ultrasound gel or whatever that is.
Hey,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Mhm.
But actually, I'm quite impressed the way you just picked it up so easily as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. That's
Yeah.
5 liters.
Yeah, 5 liters. Yeah. I was pushing it a little bit yesterday. You may notice we got a new fridge, so I had to move a bunch of stuff around, and I've been setting up the table on my own now, and
Okay.
I'm starting to become a bit more self-sufficient, but then the little dog in me wants to go for a run, so.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah. I love that it's the most applicable it's ever been to have people tell me, don't run before you can walk.
Yeah. Like in all the old army movies, wait for it.
Okay, and Chrissy is out at a house call herself, so we won't be able to do a full treatment today, but we'll get done what we can get done, so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are you good to just, if I lay down like I was, are you good to kind of just do whatever you need to do?
Yep, as long as you're okay, just lay in that one spot.
Yeah, for sure. I won't move. And if you need to push this stuff, go ahead.
This is the only camera?
Yeah, currently.
Okay.
and we'll just leave it that way.
Okay.
I've decided for editing, I'm just like going in and pulling this corner window out, and then I put this corner window on the white background behind you. Seems to be looking pretty good.
Okay.
But we'll figure that out later. Okay.
Okay.
Anything you need, let me know.
Have we changed the protocol at all?
No, it's still 5, 5, 5, 5.
And we're doing 3 megahertz and then 1 megahertz?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull this down a smidge.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a bit different looking today, I guess.
It'll be cold.
Yeah. I like that you warn me. At least Chrissy never warns me.
I know. Well, I've done this a couple of
Right.
times.
Yeah.
It's like baking a cake, you know?
Yeah. And another tip for any Canadian listeners. I used to use this one with EI back in the day. I had to make an EI claim for like 6 months once. And if you call the English speaking line, you wait for an hour and then the call drops. But if you call the French line, it rings right through. And then you say, oops, I called the wrong line. So I did that today and it worked like amazingly. Little tip.
That can be a life-saving trick.
Yeah.
If I'm ever in Canada.
Okay.
All right.
So we're doing. Let me just get this going here.
Yeah, and frame-wise, it looks like you're safe. But I
Okay.
can always figure that out later.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
So we're doing 2.5 or 3?
3 per
3, yeah,
centimeter squared, and then, 3 and 3. Everything will be 3 from now on the centimeters.
Yeah, the power's always threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
And even on the 3, I am feeling some drag already, so.
okay.
It's right here.
And
And up higher as well.
as I'm looking at that now, that's not jumping up and down like it did do when you're up in that E6 and 5 level there around. It's not jumping up and down like it used to. Am I seeing the right thing there? From
Well,
this
we're on
camera
3, so we were getting more jumps in there on 1, but yeah,
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Interesting. Yeah. I had a patient in today, and she's on about session 4 or something, 4 or 5, with chronic fatigue syndrome,
Oh,
and so she's nearly fixed.
wow.
And I was chatting to her about the kind of feature of chronic fatigue, which I was chatting about yesterday, whereby if you chronic fatigue is caused by an injury to the thoracic area and or the neck, and when the neck is involved in it, the stellate ganglion can get upset and can misfunction and produce too low a signal. And so when you are you've been resting, you get up and try and move, the sympathetic nervous system, the stellate ganglion, sends sympathetic nerves to the nerve signals to the heart to wake up a bit more, basically beat faster, beat stronger, and also dilate the coronary artery so that more blood gets to the heart so it can power itself and do the beating around the body. And one of the things you get with this, what they call PEM, post-exertion malaise, it's probably very similar to that POTS thing as well, where you stand up, I'm getting all dizzy, is that because the neck is damaged and the whole area is congested, the sympathetic nervous signal from this area isn't strong enough to get to the heart and give a big enough effect. So your body starts to move. You go downstairs to do some stuff and toddle around and move, maybe run for a bus or something. I don't know. Maybe even do exercise. Is one of the things with the chronic fatigue is they force you to do, or they used to force you. Probably some places still do, exercise to kind of work it out. And what's then happening is your heart still beating like it was in deep resting mode, and you get this. Actually, I was talking about this in terms of heart attacks, but it's exactly the same. Like you get this deep tiredness before as a precursor to a heart attack, as a warning, as it were. And this is why you're feeling deeply tired, because the sympathetic nervous thing is so weak to the heart, it's not dilating blood vessels in the heart, so the heart can't pump enough. And then basically your body is moving, and the heart isn't pumping strong enough to feed that movement. And so basically you end up with getting anaerobic respiration all over the body like a sprinter. And then what happens is your body's full of lactic acid, and you got this oxygen debt, as they cause it. And then you kind of, whereas a sprinter, his heartbeat is pumping really fast, and then he'll do a recovery whereby he'll keep on breathing after he's done the running, and kind of the oxygen he gets in then will clear off the lactic acid. That's not happening at all. So you're just full of lactic acid. You're absolutely whacked, and you basically, that's when you get these crashes and post-exertional malaises. And I mentioned this to the patient today, and halfway through what I'm saying, she goes, "What?" She goes, "I have a Fitbit," she says, "and when I've had my crashes in the past, I've noticed that my heartbeat drops, and I've never seen this written down anywhere, but it took me a few goes to kind of spot the connection between the crash and the heartbeat, and so I have actually noticed what you're talking about. So if to sort of tidy up yesterday's chat about heart attacks, and we didn't do chronic fatigue, but essentially it's kind of pretty much about we'll cover chronic fatigue, but that aspect of it. So just to cover off that thing that actually picked up on that with a patient, just happens to be today. Thing I was going to pick up on was something called the inclined bed therapy, which is a really, really effective therapy. What happened is there's a guy, a genius engineer, lives in Devon, I think, Paignton, that's in Devon, called Andrew Fletcher. And he was working on a few water projects in Africa.
Did it come on?
And so he was doing some deep thinking about water and how to move it round and how to stop it disappearing in dry desert areas and stuff. And one of his curiosities was how does water get to the top of a tree? And basically, if you have some water and you have a tube above it, like a tree as it were, and you were to seal the top and have a vacuum, the water wouldn't go very far. So it's not a vacuum pump that takes the water up to the top of very high trees, and it's not capillary action, because put some kitchen towel in some water, it'll rise a bit, but it won't go anywhere near the height of a large tree. When you read stuff about trees, you find that what 99% of what a leaf does is not actually photosynthesis at all. 99% of what it does is evaporation. It just takes water from the soil, and at the top it just evaporates it. And he kind of worked out that this was actually the whole key to the whole thing. It wasn't just just waste water going up and just going and not being any use. Inside a tree, they have these tubes, and they had two funny names: one for the one going up and one for the one going down. Many years ago, since I knew what it was. And thing is with them is when the tree evaporates all that water from its leaf, what then happens is the sap at the top of the tree is then very dense, and because it's lost its water, and density with gravity pushes down that dense sap, and it's that push down of the dense sap that gives the power, as it were, to push up the hydraulic pressure, they call it, the less dense sap that's coming up from the soil. That's a wet sap, and that's basically the mechanism which drives the the flow of the sap in the tree. Now, so he thought that was really interesting, and then he thought, wait, actually, the human being is very similar to a tree. our lungs look like the leaves of a tree. And if you blow onto a mirror, you'll see we also, when we breathe out, are not, most of what we do breathe out is water vapor. And in a similar manner, the fresh blood that's coming out of the lungs, it's oxygenated, and it's thin in terms of viscosity. If you ever see arterial blood, which is very thick and dark and viscous, you see them that's what they do in the blood transfusion. They take it out of the vein, get that the right way around, Damien. And the arterial blood is kind of a brighter red, and it's kind of thinner to the touch. But actually, because that fresh blood in the arteries is drier because you've just lost all the water from the lungs, it's got oxygen in them. What happens is that's actually quite dense, and compared to the thick, what looks like thick viscous blood of the veins, that's actually less dense. And when you have verticalness in you, and by verticalness I mean you're either standing straight or you're semi-straight, like sitting down, or in this particular case on an inclined bed at 5 degrees, then it's enough for gravity to push down that dense stuff and provide a very powerful push-up for the venous blood that's in the system that's less dense, because it's just taken lots of fluid from the tissues and the bits and pieces. Lymph, twice as much volume as blood in the human body. There's no heartbeat on that one, and it looks like that does something similar. So when I have my patients in, I tell them, you've got to try the incline bed. It's kind of I give them the homework of Stuart McGill to look at all this hygiene stuff, and then I give them an inclined bed because it's really wonderful for lots of stuff. Most of my patients, when I come back the next week, I said, have you done your own work, as it were? They go, what was that? I said, the inclined bed. I forgot. Sorry. Pressure people to do things that not, but you let them know about it. But it's very common when they say that, is that their parents who will have brought them down, somebody who's 23 years old, and they're coming down from halfway down the country. Often mum and dad will bring them on the first or second visit until they're kind of used to it. Very commonly, the parents will then be from mid-50s, mid-60s, something like that, will say, we were listening, we tried it, and Alfia, he doesn't have to get up 5 times a night to get a loo. And my varicose veins have disappeared.
Good.
This is the clears out, sorts out basically gets the lymph system to work an extra 8 hours in the evening. It gets the venous flow to be a lot stronger, a lot healthier. And so it's a very, very simple thing to do. And then when he was, it might not have been him or a friend of his, had gone on a tour of the Egyptian pyramids and stuff, and they had the exhibitions up there, either inside one of the pyramids or inside one of the museums in Cairo. He noticed there was a bed there, and because he was a friend of Andrew Fletcher's, he kind of go, I recognise that. That's an inclined bed. And he asked the curator to have a closer look at it, and he measured the angle. He was kind enough to say yes. And he looked at the angle, and and that bed was 5 degrees to the dot. So the Egyptians, 3,000-esque years ago, also had spotted this inclined bed. And the trick is, it's got to be completely flat, so it's not like a hospital bed that's kinked or a sun lounger. It's completely flat, but you lift the head of the bed, books, or there's bed raisers they get for care workers, but you only put 2 in rather than. So it's the opposite of what you do fainting. It's actually probably not a good idea for young children to do, because what they do, I have had it being tried on them before, and they put the bed, they put them here, and the head high, feet low, which is very important. And about an hour later, the parents will come in to check on them, and they'll have gone to the end of the bed, and they'll be upside down, which is you don't want to be upside down with you don't want to be like a bat, head low, feet high. And so kids kind of roll around too much and stuff. So it's a kind of an adult, sort of teenage plus treatment to do. It's a very powerful, very, very simple technique, and it solves an awful lot of problems for an awful lot of people. Back pain, indeed, one of them. People's migraine. Because the other thing is chatting about heart attacks yesterday and how most heart attacks happen at night time or in the morning because you're lying flat, you have a damaged neck. The whole area gets even more stagnant because the normal muscle movements aren't working. If you're on an inclined bed, it's really, really good for not having heart attacks at night time or first thing in the morning because the extra drainage keeps the stellate ganglion clean, and that detox for migraines. In fact, there's a whole range of medical issues which are worse at nighttime or first thing in the morning, and all of them can be massively benefited by sleeping on an inclined bed. So nice and simple as the potato, and almost as useful. And there's inclined bed therapy Facebook groups and websites and stuff, and you can spend money on it and redesign your bed and get the one trick not to do is not to use a memory foam. You end up sort of sleeping in a sort of trough trench basically, and then it's congestion. Again, congestion is usually a bad thing, and is it in this case? So just a normal firm mattress, firm or medium firm, inclined 5 degrees. That's give you great benefits. That's the chat on that one.
That's good to know about the memory foam mattress. I know that, especially in Canada, I'm not sure what you guys have going on in the UK, but it's all the rage right now to ship mattresses that can be shipped in boxes, right?
Okay.
Everybody likes their easy shipping. So we see at least 5 or 7 brands here that are a foam mattress that can be compressed and rolled up into a box. And they all happen to be memory foam. So
right.
Back pain and mattresses, I mean, those two things are probably very closely related. And as people know watching the show, I sleep on this bed, and it has only about 2 inches of dense foam, no memory foam. It's very hard, and I have no idea when I'll be able to return to a normal mattress, if ever.
My general Stuart McGill's got some good stuff on mattresses, and I'll repeat it here. Basically, try it, but try it for an extended period of time, because what feels comfortable when you lie in a bed in a bed shop for 2 minutes and you go, oh, that's really nice. After a while, oh, that's a bit soft and sagging here, and I need a bit more support. So there's as a general rule, I tend to go a medium firm mattress. Although years ago with my scoliosis before the ASPE treatment, I used to sleep on the floor.
Right.
I just couldn't do anything else. I had a ground sheet. I think I put a duvet on top of it. In fact, I'd often sleep face down on the floor. So when these are my kind of ribs, one rib stuck out a huge amount. So when I was lying on the floor, as it were, then the floor was like pushing back against the rib sticking out, and helped a little bit.
Right.
So that was the state I was in before the ASME turned up. In terms of Hippieville territory, and to touch my toes into Hippieville, in terms of these things, everything of this is quite very soundly solid. The earthing sheets, we're trying one at the moment. I quite like it. I find I sleep very quickly when I use it. And it basically in England, just around the world as well, there's like a thin silver threaded into the sheet, and you plug it into the plug. You don't switch the plug on, but because the plug is earthed in the UK, we have 3-prong plugs, positive, negative, and earth.
Us too.
Then it sort of earths whatever charge you have, so the blood go. We're a bit suspicious at the beginning, but enough people said, oh, you've got to try one of these, are really, really good, for us to give it a go. And it seems to be quite good. And people are saying, even without inclined bed, it helps back pain on top of inclined bed. It seems like a sensible thing to do, although it might cost you couple of $100 Canadian bucks, so it might not be worth it if it doesn't work, but it's something to think about. I like it, but I haven't done a huge. It feels like it's a good idea. Hence, and as they say in HTML, end of putting my foot into Hippieville there a bit.
Yeah, there's something going on in there. It just started kind of hurting almost.
Well, where's it hurting? Thoracic, middle or lumbar?
Just right where she is, just to the left, and I think she found it at the same time I did, because I was like, oh, it's kind of like a little bit of a pinch there. It may be the upper antalgia settling down. I'm not sure. Anna's eyes are the ones to describe it, I'm sure.
There was definitely some drag and a little bit of muscle flicker there, but I kind of came at it and then let it go and then came at it again. Tried taking a really big deep breath. And then out. And I'll go and do another pass.
And Damien, about your grounding or your earthing mat, that made me think. So I have the heated blanket on the massage table, and I stopped using that as well as per your recommendation, because we don't want to overheat the area and draw in too much blood and have that pool or anything. So now that the heating blanket is off, if I leave it plugged in, would there be any way that would act as an earthing blanket?
You know what? I don't think it does, because I think there's quite an insulating layer between, electrically insulating layer between you and the metal heating pad.
Okay.
So I don't think so. But I like your thinking. It's good. Good idea, right?
Yeah.
And in Canada, do you have 3 prongs in the plug? And in Europe, you only have 2.
We do. I feel like it's probably hard to hear me today on this angle, but we do, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. I got it. Roger that, as they say in the old movies with the radio.
Yeah. So when the massage therapist showed up today, she is very astute, and to use our metaphor we've been using of you see your children every day so you don't see them grow, and then you go to the family reunion and you see their cousins and you say to their cousins, oh my gosh, you've gotten so big. So she only comes once a week, so I am a cousin and not a child. And she made the comments that in my lower back things definitely look straighter to her. So I don't know if Anna would agree with that. I've also been walking around a little bit.
I would agree. When you kind of came to the door, you were quite upright.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that last time as well. Like I definitely saw improvement last time. I haven't spent much FaceTime with you today, but I definitely think it's trending in the right direction.
Yeah,
and your spine is a lot flatter. Like I'm gonna take a photo so you can see.
Yeah.
Just this is really good light right now. So we'll try and I'll leave a little gel down here for the electrodes.
Okay.
But get all of this off. And then do you want to be in that same position for the other one?
I think so, unless Damien, you have any apprehensions on that?
No, if you're comfortable, that seems fine.
I'm good. I feel quite good right now.
Okay. I'm just gonna put this in.
And it seems like all of these highly skilled and trained practitioners are noticing trending in the right direction with this non-approved modality that we're using here, Damien.
Yeah.
Where's your Globus?
I look at it. I look at it, you know, as a miserable human being. I can't help but say, wow. Imagine you've never seen a car before.
Yeah.
And you're driving the road, and you're using the car for the first time, and it stops. And then you can't get it to go for a few days, and you kick it and try everything. And somebody comes around and puts some petrol in it, and you'll say it's a miracle. And if you're used to that, you go, you just put petrol and it goes. And he's like, yeah, you just clean out the reduce the spasm, clean out the lymph, it'll
Yeah.
fix itself, whatever it is. It really was, and it was really, and so yes, it's in a way amazing, and the other thing, it's completely.
Yeah.
It's like baking bread. If you do that, and that, bread will stand up.
I love it.
Bread
Yeah.
will-
If you want your kettle to boil, you got to plug it in.
Do you want
Yeah,
these
it's
bigger pads?
The
That's-
new ones, right?
Do you want me to pause on these ones and use new ones?
Well, we already have a pack of new ones open.
Okay.
I think you're holding them, aren't you?
These are old pads.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can use them, though.
Whatever you want.
Well, you have an extra 2 leads on here, so do you want?
Yeah, we're up to 4 now.
So you
Or
want
8 or whatever.
You want 8 pads on it?
Yeah, that'll be the difference for you. We did do the 8 pad treatment yesterday for the first time. And another thing I forgot to mention, when she showed up today, she said that
Yeah.
this gluteus whatever muscle here
Yeah.
was extra tight, and she wasn't used to it being so tight. But she said it makes sense because the body's kind of balancing out or changing. So I didn't know if that might be because I was hitting it with 35 amps or if it's just the body readjusting.
Now, how do you want these laid out?
That would be a Damien question probably, but I think we're gonna go. You start in the middle, get the comfort, and then as wide as we can go out, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I've got the, like you started at the base of the lump, the glute area,
Yeah.
and you kind of done
This
too
will be a
wide,
revealing
too
day with
wide.
this angle.
So
Do you want me to go as low or no?
You can, yeah. I'll just put like a little happy face over my butt, I guess.
I think we did
Oh, they're the other way.
that one,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
think
there
actually
you
that
go.
we did 3 wide and went almost round to the front, didn't we?
Yeah, not on that level though, I don't think. But whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, 'cause I wanted to get as round to the side as when did we do that? I can't remember. Yeah.
And you want them too thick?
Again, Damien can answer
Yeah,
because
I
I've
think,
never
yeah,
seen it
Do
really.
those 2.
Okay.
Yeah, just do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 4 on top of that.
Okay.
That would be how to do it.
Okay. Middle ones are light blue.
Okay.
Outer 2 are dark blue. And then I think these ones are open.
Okay. And Damien, just so you know, if you ever have any concerns with recollecting any specific details, you can
Okay.
just say whatever you think, and then I have been adding overlays to the videos with the facts.
All right, okay.
So yesterday, for example, when you said, this isn't hippie stuff, you can type in parasympathetic or whatever nervous system and
Yep.
plus your condition. So I did that and I brought up PubMed studies and it's just like one after the next, exactly like you said. So on the screen, it's just showing PubMed study, PubMed study, PubMed study, PubMed study. And all the titles are like exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, that's really good. Thank you.
Yeah. And the French guy was actually a Dutch guy, but he lived in Paris.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I see.
And his name's there too, but of course I can't remember it either.
And now we're in interesting territory.
Yeah.
And chatting to a French fella a few years ago, there's a classic thing in England where we're told when we're growing up is that the English do all the inventions and the Americans pinch them all and make money out of them. It's kind of you have something similar in Canada.
Yeah.
Chatting to a French fella and he's saying, it's terrible. The French do all the inventions and the British pinch them and make money out of them.
Here you go, my friend.
So it's just a cascade of that theory. Okay,
Well,
so
what are you doing, right? He said the steam engine was invented by this French engineer called somebody.
Mhm.
I said, we were told it's invented by James Watt. And he said, oh, no. In France, we got told it's invented. So I think there's an awful lot of people pinch inventions for their originality. So I might have read an article by a Frenchman claiming that he was a French scientist. So Yeah, I think there's a lot of that going on in
Hmm.
that sort of territory.
We may have our first failure to launch here. I feel like this device is not charging. It may have turned on in the bag or something. I can't remember. I think you said it doesn't work when it's plugged in, right?
Yeah, as a safety mechanism, it doesn't work when it's plugged in.
Okay.
So to charge it up,
Yeah.
it only takes. You can really get a 5 minute charge should get you through
Okay.
10 minutes of therapy.
Okay.
So do you can you if you stick it into charge?
Yeah. Well, we'll run out as time, but I can wait here, and then
Yeah.
that's fine.
If you've got it set up to run it, and that's I mean, you just get the first bunch done. And
Yeah, I won't let that happen again. That's too bad. And is this plugged in?
If you're a therapist, then I'm doing this. It's usually a really good idea to have two of these.
Isn't that the ultrasound plug?
Charged.
Yeah, but it's
And
Oh,
then
they're
you
the
keep
same.
The pads down you just pull these things out, and like a Formula One tire change, you clip in the new one.
Yeah.
So just as a practical note, it's usually a good idea to have two of them as a therapist.
Right. Well, I'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
You should see a little. If it's charging, you'll see a little thing go across it.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think so then. Well, good thing we got this nifty charging platform over here. That's weird because yesterday it had well over half a charge, so I think I must have maybe left it on or something.
There we go. Let's charge it. I can see that little thing going across there. So while we wait, Anna, a small question, if I may.
Yeah.
Are you impressed?
I am impressed.
Good.
Things definitely, like, the concept of calming things down is definitely paralleling my thoughts as well. I haven't worked with electric modalities in a long time, so it's nice to kind of get a refresh and kind of remember how powerful they can be. So this has been really great. And if it's working for you and it feels tolerable, because I know not a lot of modalities have felt tolerable for you, it's a great place to start.
Yep. Yeah, it's been really giving me the feeling.
It says charge completed, sorry.
Oh, it says charge completed.
Just sorry to cut you off.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, we'll try this again.
Okay.
So unplug and then press and hold the button.
Yeah. Well, is there like a safety that I can't turn it on when the plugs are in or something?
I think so. Yes.
Oh, that's what it is.
I have to take the charge plug out.
Okay. No, not that one. The other ones, but that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Hmm.
Oh, the channels going to you. They're happy in.
No, it's.
Is it broke?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh dear.
I can plug it back in again, but it said fully
Yeah.
charged.
This is a bit miserable. So pressing and holding the
Yeah.
on-off button.
Yeah, and it's like I've done it every day, right? So
Oh dear.
that would be really something. Have you had one break on you before?
They last eventually, but it usually it takes about 3 years before the
Right.
battery gets to a stage where it doesn't take any charge anymore. Let me. If you could pass over one of those wires, I'll stick it into this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
Okay, it says it's charging.
So
It
at
says
least,
charge completed.
yeah, it says charge complete again.
But we'll leave it for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, this company has good quick shipping, but yeah, and then it just hard crashes when you unplug it. I'm not sure. It might just need might just need a little bit. But Globus here. Okay, now it's charging. And then charge complete. Yeah, something's not right here.
When was the last time you charged it?
I guess 5 days ago.
Yeah, okay. So the charge won't be complete.
Right.
If you've used it 5 days, it'll be run out. So
Right.
I think if anything, if any mixed wrong message, it would be the charge complete as a wrong message.
Yeah.
I would give that 5 minutes
Okay.
of charging and then start again.
All right. No problem. And now I've got the pads on in one of the most important places, so
Yeah.
that's a win.
We'll take it from there.
And I'll be in touch with Globus because I have time.
Okie doke. Be nice to them.
I will.
So.
I'm always nice. I try to kill with kindness if I have to be mean.
So what else have we got? I suppose we could chat about chronic fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, chronic fatigue first turned up many years ago. Interesting enough, in a couple of hospitals, one in Iceland and one in London. One in London called the Royal Free. And
is that
the
it for you today?
symptoms
Were you here till 2? Or?
I can stay till 2:15.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right, sorry, Damien, to cut you off there.
Yeah, the symptoms that were described by this, and in England it was called the Royal Free disease for some time. The symptoms that were described by that were nothing really much like you kind of classically get with ME nowadays. They were talking about loads and loads of pain in the joints and stuff, and it sounded more like polymyalgia, which I've seen polymyalgia as a reaction to vaccines before, and it was in 2 hospitals. So it sounds like the nurses in the hospitals have either got a batch of experimental vaccines, anybody want an afternoon off to have a quick test this jab type of stuff that's gone around the hospitals, or it's, and I think it's probably more than that, than even a virus that they've caught, because nobody else got it. So I think the first chronic fatigue things, which were named after the Royal Free Hospital, I think the Icelandic one might have had its own name as well, named after the hospital. I don't really think we're very much to do with what ME is, chronic fatigue ME is nowadays, as we see it, which really doesn't have much pain. It's just basically deep exhaustion that people get, and then they have other symptoms on top of that, but they're all just variations of deep exhaustion, like trying to do some stuff and then really feeling really exhausted, which we were chatting about earlier with the PEM, the post-exertional malaise. I see. I had chronic fatigue myself, and I had gone to doctors and stuff about it, and I tried vitamins. It kind of did me good in some ways, because it taught me how to eat a lot better than I did. Didn't, a teenage lad from Liverpool, didn't do too much thinking about the quality of the food I ate. And it was, crisps at lunchtime and that kind of stuff, like all the other school children did. So it forced you to eat better, which probably didn't as well good. And I had back in the day, I had terrible fatigue, exhaustion all the time, and I woke up in the morning just looking forward to going to bed every night. I had also terrible blinking and eye pain, very dry eyes, and I got to the eye hospitals about it and stuff. And I had scoliosis, and I always saw all 3 of these things as different. And so I went to one doctor for that, one doctor for that, and tried to treat these things separately. It was only ultimately after I had the ASPI treatment, and they did some on my upper spine and the base of the neck. The fatigue went, and the blinking eyes went, and the sore eyes went. That you kind of going, okay, they were just more symptoms of my back and my neck. And so basically, the story of chronic fatigue is, as I see it, is you have a fall, the back gets compressed, jammed up. You get these spasms, and the lack of a muscle pump, and so the sympathetic nervous system doesn't work properly, and you your digestion system doesn't work properly because it monitors the digestion system. It controls it in terms of putting enzymes here, and it controls a lot of the talk at the moment in the world of guts is all about the biome. Well, the sympathetic nervous system has an awful lot to say about what's in the biome and how where it's up to. It's farmed, and the controls that the farmer or the command and control for the farm or the mini brains along your spine. So you eat food, but you're not digesting it properly. You're not absorbing the nutrients properly, so you get more and more and more run down. And so then, if you then take, I don't think I have the next stage, but if you then take some shock on the system as you're in this chronically low state, and it could be a virus or a bacteria, or I suppose even an emotional shock, and then suddenly you go from chronically tired and fatigued and exhausted to completely whacked out, and it totally, you're down and out for the count, really. So I think that's basically the story of what the chronic fatigue is, and the way to fix it is to go to the source, which is your back. You get the back working again, like we're doing here, and then you use the aspirin as well, usually with the chronic fatigue. Get that back working again, and some people can be very, very better instantly. I had a patient a couple of days ago who hadn't gone into the long-term ME, but was suffering from a bout of really deep exhaustion that sleep wasn't getting her out of, and she had a tight neck, and the vertebrae were kind of slightly jammed out of place. By the time we finished the session, she said, well, actually, just towards the end of the session, because I did the neck right at the very end, she said, click of a button, it all went away, and she had her energy back. Wow. If she'd been like that for a long time, then her whole system would be worn down. She wouldn't have absorbed her nutrients properly, and the recovery from that point onwards could then take place, but it could take some time as she rebuilds. So I recommend eating very good food, things like liver, to make sure she gets all the deep nutrients in. Yeah. So I think that should have.
Yeah, it didn't.
How are we up to? If we unplug that now.
Yeah, I did though. I just checked. I waited 5 minutes and then I unplugged it and then I checked. So, okay. And then I immediately plugged it back in. So I think it needs to be plugged in for like the long term here. Okay. So this will have to be a mulligan on this, but I will ask Globus if this is normal or if there's.
You probably don't switch it on 1,000 times, but if you take the thing out for a moment, take the charger out, and do press and hold, real good long. Okay. Is anything coming up on the screen at all?
No.
Oh no.
And I don't know if there's any override or any like cheat codes.
Do you unscrew this and replace what's in there?
Yeah, like I would consider unscrewing things, but like this is a less than a week old product, so.
Yeah.
And we gotta lose the amazing Anna, so.
All right, okay.
For another stint here. But I've been doing, as you noticed before she showed up, I was doing all my kind of accounting for coverage, so I'm going to try and buy her back more.
Okay. Yes, I think that the first thing to do is get onto Globus.
Yeah.
And
expedited shipping.
Expedited shipping.
Yeah, because we're in the middle of a real thing here. This could be something. And it's funny because now the power dot, I was just about to send the power dot back, and it will still work, I bet. But anyways, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not actually in there. It's like distributed all over the house. But
they don't have Concorde anymore, do they?
Sorry?
They don't have Concorde anymore. We can't fly over at Mach 2.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pause this. I mean, it looks like something's happening.
It looks great there, and then boom, charge complete. So it's almost like they gave me an old product with a dead battery, or the battery's not working or something.
Yeah. It might have been in the warehouse for 20 years, who knows?
Yeah. So, anyways,
Back when we had black and white TVs, we used to just hit it a few times to wake it up. I'm inclined to do the same thing.
yeah, you never know.
All right.
But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna leave it plugged in for a long time and see if this might just be a function of it being just bone dead.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when batteries overheat, as we've seen with all these EV cars and EV bikes, they can blow up and bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do stick it on, say, for an hour.
Yeah.
But if a battery's malfunctioning and I don't know, something's shorted inside it, leave it on some non-flammable surface like a table rather than a bed. We
Will
don't
do.
want this to end badly.
I'll keep my eye on it. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, she's not working, so that's that. At least Anna was able to see what the pad placement is with the 4-channel. That's positive. And yeah, I mean, and the healing is continuing, so I do have that sense that totally what Paul would have suggested, that the, let's say, white blood cells were not getting to the area that they needed to heal, and now they are. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know. That's probably...
Yeah, the great thing about that is that process has now started.
Yeah, I feel
and this
that.
keeps it at full blast, but the process has not stopped because we've lost our EMS right now.
Yeah.
It could be we've done enough and it'll just get better and better on its own. But or maybe with the ultrasound. But so I don't think it's a dead loss.
No.
But it's a setback, but only a setback.
Yeah, and for me, as long as that disc material or whatever's causing that acute pain, which triggers the response, is on its way home, we're good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, Henry.
And thank you. Yeah.
No problem.
And yeah, this will be an easy edit. All right.